Today is Friday, September 12th, and I want to take a moment to talk about Charlie Kirk. And Charlie, he was active and involved in political spheres. You know, he was close to President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. But first and foremost, he was a Christian. He was a follower of Jesus Christ. And he promoted a biblical worldview. You know, I remember once he was on a particular podcast and the host asked him, what's the one thing that you would want to be remembered by amidst, all your accomplishments? And Charlie answered, he said, I want to be remembered for the courage of my faith. You know, he was only 31 years old, and he accomplished quite a bit in that short lifespan. But he said, you know what, the one thing I want to be remembered by is my faith in Jesus Christ. It's the most important thing. You know, and he was taking a stand for truth in this backwards culture, in this wicked and perverse generation. He was promoting the truth. And a lot of times that shows up in politics. You know, I was never a political person until I had to be. And he was trying to initiate change, especially amongst the youth, on these college campuses. And these types of open discussions and debates are some of the best means by which to reach the knowledge of the truth. But if you don't have the truth on your side, you could be one of the most articulate, well-spoken orators, but ultimately your arguments will be nonsense because you're arguing against the truth. And I believe this is one of the main reasons why those on the left aren't particularly interested in engaging in these public debates and discussions, because they know they can't win. They don't have the truth on their side. They have no firm foundation on which to stand. Well, when they can't win the rational discussion, what do they do instead? Well, they get angry. They get ugly, insulting, and they get violent. And Charlie, he knew the risks. He even stated so on several occasions. But you have two options. You can either slink back and cower in fear, keep your mouth shut, keep your opinion to yourself, don't rock the boat, or to be bold and to stand up for your faith, to stand up for the truth, and to proclaim the truth. And you can take the attitude that Esther had, She said, if I die, I die. It's been a rough couple of days, I know, for a lot of people, especially his family, his wife, and I know his two children are too young to really understand now. But it's been hard to remember how the word says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. It's easy to get angry and frustrated and vengeful against what we can see in the natural. But we have to remember there's a spiritual aspect behind the scenes to all these things. Jesus called Satan the father of lies. He is diametrically opposed to the truth. And Charlie Kirk had a voice. He had a platform. And he was reaching the youth on these college campuses. He was highlighting the truth. And he was enlightening the rationality of that truth to many of the young minds. And I believe he was shaping a generation. I believe he still will. I've been reminded of Stephen in the book of Acts. He was the first Christian martyr killed for his faith. And it talks about how he would engage in these discussions, these debates within the synagogues. And it says that they were unable to withstand his wisdom and the spirit by which he spoke. And so they killed him. And Charlie Kirk has become a martyr. You know, a martyr is someone who dies for their beliefs, particularly their religious beliefs. So where do we go from here? Well, we follow in the footsteps of Charlie Kirk. We follow in the footsteps of Christ. It's like Paul said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. We follow him. You know, Charlie, he was bold enough to take a stand and voice the truth, even amongst opposition. And of course, we remember Jesus said, blessed are you when you're persecuted and hated for my name's sake, right? He said, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. And the reason it hates you is because you're not of the world. You know, you look like me. That's what a disciple's supposed to do. We're supposed to look like our master. That's what Jesus said. When a disciple is fully trained, when he's perfected, that means complete. He's not greater than the master, but he looks like the master.